I don't know if anyone's ever been #1 on the leaderboards and #1 at a regional championship in the same weekend, but maybe Reis can do it.
Gonna make some more history here. Reis2Occasion is locked in with a positive lead, but Shadow for Alligator is not terrible in this matchup. Because the pacing is a lot slower for Mandibuzz, you have the opportunity to get the multiple Ice Beams, and I believe there are win conditions in the one Protect Shield situation.
Reis, Butters, I'm stunned by Reis' team. Look, he's got a Diggersby and Annihilate in the back, and he has to expect that Galarian Moltres is coming out. What is he doing?
But the thing is, the Annihilate isn't terrible versus Galarian Moltres because you're taking neutral Sucker Punches, and you're doing a lot of damage with your own counter, and the Ancient Power is resisted. So in a 2-shield situation, that Annihilate has a chance to just shred through that Galarian Moltres.
Ooh, great shield call by Reis here as well on the Ice Beam. Can he get the full air slash down? Yes, STUDMUFFINS thinks so. So he's going to bring out that Galarian Moltres. This allows Reis to pinpoint the main nemesis for his team, throwing the aerial ace to weaken it and maybe making a switch.
And doesn't pivot out yet because you don't really want to soak any energy here. And this gives the opportunity for STUDMUFFINS to hang on for a long time, maybe trying to catch on a resistant Ancient Power, but the patience by STUDMUFFINS there.
Wow, I'm bringing Diggersby into a Galarian Moltres. I never thought I would see it. Reis has taken down a lot of Mandibuzz with his Diggersby, but this is a matchup I did not expect in the slightest. Brave Bird connects. Diggersby's one of the only Pokemon that could hang on, and now it's going to take advantage of that defense drop.
But the tough part is, do you have Protect Shield here? You have 2 remaining, and no, actually letting it go. This was something that I think STUDMUFFINS regretted earlier on in actually throwing a Sucker Punch instead of that Ancient Power that would have done a little bit of chip damage for STUDMUFFINS there.
Can Diggersby take Reis the rest of the way, because there's a Clodsire in the back, and now it's getting sent out to the field. Scorching Sands is going to really hobble this Clodsire if it triggers the debuff, and now that the Sludge Bomb is ready, he waits a turn before the Earthquake.
And there is 2 Protect Shields remaining for STUDMUFFINS. At this point, do you just go Sludge? Oh, it tried to call a Fire Punch bait, but it said it is the Scorching Sand, but it's Clodsire is just so bulky, it doesn't even really matter. It shrugs it off, and actually instead of going for the Sludge Bomb here, going for the neutral Earthquake, and it's gonna land!
Because now that Scorching Sand's connected, I think Annihilate has a chance here. The Rage Fist is neutral, the counters are resisted, but the damage is undeniable. Earthquake coming through.
Oh!
Tries to make the catch.
Tried to make the catch once again, and that is 2 different times that STUDMUFFINS has been patient and not thrown on the exact time that Reis was swapping, and that could be the crucial difference here, trying to swap into his own for Alligator, but Reis caught a cap.
Caught a cap on the aerial ace into the Clodsire, forcing away that first Protect Shield from STUDMUFFINS. STUDMUFFINS wants his for Alligator, but he's really stuck. He might need to try to farm down, and he's able to do it.
That's not too bad for STUDMUFFINS there, because now he's loaded with an Earthquake, can throw it on charge attack priority into the Rage Fist here. And that's going to get the last Protect Shield of the game from STUDMUFFINS. Is Reis2Occasion going to let this Earthquake go, try to save his Protect Shield for a potential Hydro Cannon?
It's a really good question. Yes, the answer is he's going to shield off the Earthquake and think he can endure the Hydro Cannon down the stretch. Clodsire threw its energy for Alligators waiting in the wings. Do we see a swap?
No, no swap. This looks like he's going to try to outpace and get to that Earthquake, and he does. The problem is, as soon as you swap into the Feraligatr, you're going to get Rage Fist here, so Reis has to be very careful. He has to see if there's a swap happening. Combo play, swap happens, and no! Actually, the Feraligatr was energy dry anyway.
Wow, threw the counter into the Rage Fist, but you saw him lock in and look at the typings at the top right of the corner of the screen. He wanted to make sure he didn't get blasted by a Hydro Cannon.
It's something we haven't seen that much here in San Antonio, and Annihilate is going to be able to sweep that back in of the battle. A Pokemon that is dropped in usage, but in the winners finals, both of these trainers have them, and Reis2Occasion was able to use that to perfection in the end game there.
Butters, something we didn't mention is that this is a best of 5 in our winners finals here. So Reis did win game number 1, but he's got to win 2 more in order to take this series and punch his ticket into the grand finals.
I feel like this gives a lot of opportunities for STUDMUFFINS. We saw earlier on in a series where he lost game number 1 because he didn't invest into his Galarian Moltres. He once again had the opportunity to Protect Shield a Fire Punch and maybe get to another Brave Bird or pivot. Once again, he didn't invest into his MVP. I feel like he's steadily going to invest more and more into that MVP Pokemon? And then how does Reis counteract that adjustment from STUDMUFFINS?
I mean, Reis did some really impressive things, bringing the Diggersby into that Galarian Moltres and still finding the win condition in this matchup was absolutely astounding. I think the no shield on the Scorching Sands by STUDMUFFINS was really detrimental to his attempt to win that game, because after you take that, your Clodsire is threatened by Rage Fist, so maybe just making a few different calculations could lead to success in game 2 for STUDMUFFINS.
Yeah, that is a good point there. At the time, it felt like a good no shield, because it's like, okay, this isn't going to do super effective, but it only does half my health anyway. But when you're forced to shield something that would do a lot less damage, you could have used that Protect Shield more efficiently. And when you're in a winner's finals, you need to do things really efficiently to move on. And now you're in an 0-1 hole, but you mentioned it. It is a best-of-5 series, so even if he loses this next game, he is not out of it yet. But you don't want to go down 0-2 to a trainer of Reis' caliber as we lock into this game number 2.
Jumping right into the battle on the screen, we've got Shadow for Alligator Mirror on the field.
And look at the backline once again, that MVP Pokemon of the Galarian Moltres. Reis2Occasion has his own Mandibuzz and the Annihilate in the back. So I think if STUDMUFFINS decides to invest, and it looks like he invested into some attack as he's going to win this charge attack priority.
Shadow for Alligator from STUDMUFFINS does strike first, but Reis2Occasion has the Hydro Cannon queued as well. Having a higher attack stat sometimes means that you have a little less HP, but here comes Reis2Occasion with the Hydro Cannon. Do we get a second Hydro Cannon? No, a swap into the Mandibuzz.
And do you try to bank up some energy and then swap into your own Galarian Moltres? I think that is a play that STUDMUFFINS might try to do. No, instead, he's trying to do some chip damage here, try to bait on the Hydro Cannon. Does Reis2Occasion Protect Shield? Does he respect it? And he does!
At the last moment, shielding up a potential Ice Beam that could put Reis behind in this matchup. And look at this, Butters, bringing in the Clodsire into the Mandibuzz instead of the Galarian Moltres.
And the thing is, that actually is a little bit better for Reis here, because Reis is going to be able to match up that Annihilate versus Galarian Moltres. But the problem is for Reis, you really can't shield again, because if you shield again, you know the Galarian Moltres is out there lurking, and it's going to have a Brave Bird at some point, so you need to save your Protect Shield for that attack.
Not just that, the Feraligatr from STUDMUFFINS is still very dangerous. It baited the potential Ice Beam, which means it still has some residual energy stored, and now we see the massive overcharge by both players, both unwilling to throw their charge attacks until now.
And if Reis does another fast attack, he's going to go over 100 energy, so he actually banks that energy, not wanting to go over 100, swaps into his Feraligatr, but then gets hit by the Sludge Bomb here, effectively does soak this energy, though, from the Clodsire.
So what do? Do you bring in the Annihilate finally and reveal it, or do you bring back in the Mandibuzz?
That's such a tough call, because the Switch Timer, there's a long time remaining on it, so you can't just swap out, but you bring in the Mandibuzz, you can throw an attack there, and now he is over 100 energy there because he threw that fast attack to try to throw on proper timing.
Charge attack coming through here from Reis. This is a foul play into the Clodsire. As we see by the damage there, he needs 2 to KO. Gonna go for another foul play right now, but honestly, I think the Clodsire might just barely hang on. Reis is putting this all on the back of Annihilate.
But he can't get on that back yet because the Switch Timer is not back up, so that gives STUDMUFFINS the opportunity to get some energy here, and Reis does not love that. He throws the Aerial Ace, but this Aerial Ace doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the energy on this Galarian Moltres.
This is really tricky. Now he brings in the Annihilate, but the counters are really adding up. I don't know if Reis can call it Brave Bird. Maybe there's a chance.
He's going for it.
There's going to be a debuff here if this occurs. Can Reis call the Brave Bird?
Brave Bird incoming, Reis Protect Shield, and now he's going to be able to counter down, taking out this Galarian Moltres. Does he have what it takes to fully sweep once again with the Annihilate? Coming
in with the Feraligatr, it's 2 Shadow Claws away. I think it just clenched up the Hydro Cannon. I don't think the Switch Timer is available for Reis either. He's just down to the bare bones with his Mandibuzz and his Annihilate.
Does he have it? Does he have the Hydro Cannon? Yes! He has it registered, and STUDMUFFIN is able to close out this game and tie up the series.
Wow. Absolutely shocking. Feraligatr closing the door on Reis. Mandibuzz limps out. It's got a little bit of HP left. Can't get to the Aerial Ace. It's racing, but Feraligatr's faster.
Too fast there, especially for the Air Slash Mandibuzz. Snarl maybe would have been able to do it, but STUDMUFFINS is going to be able to tie it up here. What an epic in-game we just witnessed.
Whew. As a reminder, this is a best-of-5 series, so each trainer is tied up 1-1. Essentially, you can wash your hands of that and say this is now a best-of-3. 2 more victories will determine who goes to the grand finals.
Wow, that was so tough from STUDMUFFINS. Obviously going for that Brave Bird, trying to go for the big play there, but because that Feraligatr was close enough to the Hydra Cannon, if he had it all mapped up that if I throw the Brave Bird now, I will deny enough farm down from the Annihilate so the Annihilate can't Rage Fist. Yeah. If he waited longer to throw that Brave Bird, I believe that Annihilate would have got to back-to-back Rage Fists against that Feraligatr. But because he threw it early, his defense dropped and he got less farm. So that was actually a brilliant play. You win on the Brave Bird or you win in the backline for STUDMUFFINS.
Wow. Yeah, you're exactly right. He covered all of his bases there. Did not allow the opening for Reis to exploit. Hydro Cannon connecting into this Mandibuzz is how Game 2 ended. And a 1-1 tied series is where we stand.
And we've seen this all tournament long. STUDMUFFINS throughout a series has relied more on the Galarian Moltres and the Shadow Feraligatr. Those two Pokemon in particular. If you're Reis2Occasion, do you ever think about bringing in the Toxapex to try to be neutrally okay against that Galarian Moltres and then be able to soak all the energy of the Feraligatr?
Ooh, that might be something he can try. We're going to jump right into game number 3 here in just a few quick moments because one of our trainers is still thinking it over. I think they've come to a decision, Butters.
And we are locked in to game number 3 of the Winners Finals. Winner advances to the Grand Finals. This is a best of 5, and there is that Toxapex, but STUDMUFFINS called it. He actually sat the Galarian Moltres in this battle and has a backline of Clodsire and Feraligatr.
Yeah, look at this team from Reis. He is ABA weak to this Dunsparce because the drill runs do so much damage to both the Toxapex and that Shadow Drapion in the back.
But how about that Clodsire in the back? If you can get Protect Shields down, you're going to be really strong against that Shadow Drapion. Running that double poison team, here comes the Sludge Wave from the Toxapex here, gonna be able to land into the Dunsparce, and the Dunsparce gonna take it no problem.
No problem on the Sludge Wave, but the poison jabs will continue to add up. And the bad news for STUDMUFFINS is that a second drill run will not pick up the KO either, so he's gonna be forced to throw a third charge attack.
And do we see a pivot here? And yes, there is a pivot from STUDMUFFINS, gonna try to go for the Shadow Claw down, but crucially getting up energy against the Annihilate and deciding to come in with Annihilate instead of coming in with the Shadow Drapion. I think that is because he is expecting there is a Galarian Moltres in the back. There is no Galarian Moltres in the back.
Yeah, exactly. The one time you think you would bring it, STUDMUFFINS leaves that Pokemon on the bench, winning the Charge Attack priority tie here. Reis fires off the Rage Fist, but STUDMUFFINS wants that Protect Shield.
Yeah, he also wants to get another Protect Shield with his Hydro Cannon and then do some super effective Shadow Claws to try to get this Annihilate out of the battle, because Annihilate at this health would still be useful versus the Dunsparce or the Clodsire. Reis actually just lets it go, come in with the Drapion, is now going to try to close the entire battle with the Drapion, thinking that there is a Galarian Moltres in the back, but instead there's a Clodsire.
Gonna go ahead and throw this Aqua Tail to pick up the KO into the Shadow Feraligatr. Resist it or not, that is gonna be enough damage to pick up the knockout. Now the Dunsparce comes back in. It has 2 rollouts stored. It's gonna go ahead and try to throw the drill run. Does Reis try to catch it? No, he throws the Aqua Tail instead.
And once again, STUDMUFFINS was being so patient here. Remember that he was being incredibly patient, expecting the swap. He had to use a Protect Shield because of that patience. And now he doesn't even, he tried to swap here, but I believe he paused and then swapped.
Yeah.
And STUDMUFFINS was able to register the drill run beforehand.
Reis waited a turn. He waited a turn, and in that turn, that's when the drill run got fired off. Now he's forced to use his final Protect Shield of the game, and the Clodsire comes in. But it's not over yet, Butters. We could see a catch on the Earthquake.
And look, he didn't throw on Charge Attack priority. Again, he is so afraid of Reis2Occasion swapping. Will Reis try to make the swap? And there it is, but it doesn't happen. The patience pays off, but he gets to a Brian. Is there an Aqua Tail baked? Is there an Aqua Tail baked?
Yes.
Wow, that could be an onslaught of water type damage. The triple water attacks. First, the Sludge Bomb's gonna come out though.
Yeah, it's gonna force his Clodsire to throw energy. Now Reis is a little bit ahead. I believe he's got the Aqua Tail still on the Drapion, and the Switch Timer's not up. Reis coming back with the Drapion. He's got it. He throws it.
He was counting because he's like, I'm gonna build up because I need energy for the Dunsparce as well. This needs to knock out the Clodsire here or it's game over, and it does secure the knockout. And now can you outpace the Dunsparce? Yes! Charge Attack priority! Cap wins it for Reis2Occasion.
Reis able to snatch this game 3 away from STUDMUFFINS and take his record to 2-1 in the series. He is 1 game away from the Grand Finals.
And this is all about adjustments here. Reis saw the tendencies of STUDMUFFINS.
Yes.
STUDMUFFINS earlier on was so patient on every single swap. Once again, he's been patient, and Reis used that to his advantage to win this crucial game number 3.
You're not playing the Pokemon, Butters. You're playing the opponent. You are playing the person across the stage from you. It doesn't matter if 10 different trainers have the same Pokemon, they're all gonna play them differently. And taking those notes from how STUDMUFFIN is reacting is so crucial. Reis2Occasion living rent-free in STUDMUFFIN's head right now.
And he tried the swap there. He waited a turn on his Shadow Drapion and then tried the swap, but he didn't get that secured. And now, look at this. STUDMUFFIN gets to the Earthquake. Earlier on, he was at the Earthquake, but didn't throw on Charge Attack priority. That allowed the Brine. And then look at this double Poison Sting. Knowing that he has to get to enough energy, he throws the 2 Poison Stings to throw on Charge Attack priority. Guess what? He wouldn't have gotten to this Charge Attack priority if he didn't throw those double Poison Stings.
You're right. If he throws 1 Poison Sting, the Dunsparce will outpace him. Reis has this down to a science. Look under the microscope, and Reis is right there with you.
You saw he was holding up fingers. He was counting out loud. Where is his energy at? How many Poison Stings could I do? And he was absolutely spot on. Not only was he spot on with his counting, he was spot on with his adjustments. He said he hasn't played best of 5 series in a while, but he is not rusty at all. We are in a decisive game number 4. If Reis2Occasion wins this, he moves on to the grand finals. Can STUDMUFFINS pull off 2 wins in a row? If he can, it will be with that Galarian Moltres.
The Dark Flyers take to the skies. Mandibuzz from Reis versus that Galarian Moltres from STUDMUFFINS. The MVP picks for both of these trainers are on the field.
And here comes the Aerial Ace. It just really doesn't do that much. Of course, this matchup is so much better against the Snarl Mandibuzz. You are taking a lot more chip damage with that Aerial Ace, but actually STUDMUFFINS, in a shocking decision, doesn't go for the super effective Ancient Power, decides to unleash a Brave Bird, and now he has to pivot out of this matchup.
Goes right into his Shadow for Alligator, but it's going to take a lot of damage from the Mandibuzz, and Reis has no obvious answer. He did not bring the Toxapex in this game number 4, so he's got to find a different win condition.
But this was an obvious Aerial Ace, deciding to go for that before the Hydro Cannon was available, but now he's just bringing in the Annihilate to soak up this damage, and this is so risky because, Speedy, I think he gets the double Hydro Cannon, right?
Well, look at it. If this Feraligatr is 5 Shadow Claws away, 4 Shadow Claws away, it is going to get to the Hydro Cannon, but Reis finds the Charge Attack priority.
Wow, well played once again, getting the Protect Shield. I like this from STUDMUFFINS, though. Let's get the Protect Shields out of this battle, and I can close this game with that Galarian Moltres, and you can finish off this Annihilate easily with the Clodsire. Because of this Shadow Claw damage, you have put in this Annihilate within range of Earthquake.
Annihilate continuing to ramp up is going to be met by the Clodsire now. No Protect Shields remaining for Reis2Occasion. Switch timers also heavily displaced. Reis doesn't want to throw a Charge Attack, but he must on the Charge Attack priority tie.
And look at this, STUDMUFFINS throws on Charge Attack priority because the timer was almost available for Reis here. Now, will this be enough to knock out? It probably will be. Yes. Annihilate is a bulky Pokemon, but this is same type attack bonus of a strong attack of the Earthquake. Get that Annihilate out of the battlefield. In comes the Diggersby.
Diggersby comes in here. It's got a massive typing advantage over the opposing Clodsire, but right now, Reis needs energy, so you're going to see him overcharge massively in this matchup. Earthquake coming through from the Clodsire.
STUDMUFFINS in his head a little bit of when he wants to throw these attacks. Reis, I feel like, has a little mental edge of when he wants to swap or not, and now banking up a lot. No, actually throwing right before the swap attempt of STUDMUFFINS.
STUDMUFFINS waits a turn so he can make sure to get the swap. Reis throws the Scorching Sands anyway to KO the Clodsire. Now there is a weakened Galarian Moltres and a really wounded Feraligatr in the back.
Do you peekaboo here? Do you try to come in with the Moltres and then swap to your Feraligatr? No, he does not secure that peekaboo here. Will this be the last Protect Shield of the battle? What does more damage, an Aerial Ace or a Fire Punch? Actually letting this Fire Punch through, but this might come down to fast attacks now for Reis2Occasion.
I think at this point, the Ancient Power might be enough to KO that Mandibuzz in the back. Look at the overcharge from both players. Fire Punch coming through here from Reis2Occasion. STUDMUFFINS knows his tournament is on the line here in the winner side of the bracket. He's putting it all on the back of the Moltres.
This is so risky, though, going for the Brave Bird here. This is definitely going to knock out the Diggersby, but you have to instantly swap into your Feraligatr here, and you still have to get to one more Charge Attack. Does he have enough HP remaining? He does it on Feraligatr.
Hold on. Mandibuzz is still 3 air slashes away. Can the Moltres hang on for STUDMUFFINS? No!
No, and it looks like Reis2Occasion is going to be moving on to the grand finals.
Reis2Occasion reaching new heights here in San Antonio as he takes down STUDMUFFINS, one of the most surprising and impressive trainers that we have seen this entire season.